Hocus pocus. The magical thinking of the narcissist. Bait and switch. Narcissists simply bait you with targeted conversations in an effort to constantly manage you down and keep you confused. Just with a normal conversation, it almost seems like they are testing you or even mocking you. They are gauging your reactions to see just how far they can push you and always making you feel like you must explain yourself. They especially want you to react emotionally after they bet you. To get that reaction, they will tell you to calm down or say you are overreacting and make you internalize this disappointment with you. They want the upper hand always to feel in control, so the whole point is of this is to make you unhinged with their constant chores. Conversations are always a competition with them, just like everything else. With a narcissist, think of it like this: it is like the narcissist purposely punches you and then gets angry at you for reacting to that punch. Accepting the truth is the hardest part of recovering from this abuse and may take months or even years to reconcile, for it does come suddenly, but the shock and the trauma are overwhelming. The truth is obvious to all of us, no matter how long it takes to get it out. But what we do with the truth and how we move on without looking back is imperative. We must stop believing in this narcissist to free ourselves to move forward with clarity to a healthy life, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. To a narcissist, we are either a tool or an obstacle. Nothing more, nothing less. The narcissist colorfully camouflages themselves to lure a target in and then emotionally, psychologically exhaust their potential target, just like a predator would. Again, they trick and trap. They pay prey just like a predator to create an unfair hidden advantages over them and then plug them into their agenda of achieving supply to devour what they can from us. They never pick a fair fight. It is all smoke and mirrors. The narcissist's reigns of terror and destruction begins with this very small negative comments about the victim. The narcissist will then begin to mentally disassemble the victim's self-esteem, worth, and beliefs about themselves. And this is so-called relationship. What was once considered to be a promising relationship now becomes a relationship that is unloving, controlling, debasing, humiliating, and dehumanizing, gut-wrenching, unstable, and full of blame and shame. The victim is constantly kept emotionally and psychologically off balance by the insidious behavior of their narcissistic partner. The narcissist can basically imitate that they care about you or love you as long as she continues to see the reflect extreme adulation and admiration for them and giving them supply. The narcissist is especially good at being pathologically deceptive and extremely manipulative at stimulating genuine affection, caring, and loving to gain your trust so they can essentially harvest you as their next source of supply. Underneath that facade is the delusional and out of control, immoral person that lacks any respect for life and people. They have no conscious or care about how they the best people to get what they want and need. This is what is all boils down to. We satisfy some sort of need and they have many needs and many people are the sources they use to maintain and satisfy that huge void in a life that is their true reality. There's no real person there, just that huge and needy void that requires our participation for them to survive. A narcissist needs to project so many things at and into their target to feel empowered and real, like the charming fact that it is built on the lies as well as to deny their own darkness and destructive ways of transferring and dumping everything and anything toxic on the target victim through the blaming and shaming the target by accusing them of what they are doing. Add to this that everything is coupled with gaslighting, whereby the narcissist uses this tactic to reduce your cognitive ability to reason and make you out to seem crazy or losing control of your own life. The truth of the matter is that the narcissist is intentionally making you lose complete control of your reality so that you will become dependent on them as the center of your universe. It is the tangled mess for the victim target to discern reality from all of these mechanisms that are in place for the narcissist to succeed in doing what they are doing, abusing to get you what they really want supply. A narcissist uses targeted confusion, lies, strangulation, and manipulation with backstabbing and the smear campaign to divide, conquer, and silence people. So the big plan, the narcissist destroys the victim's credibility well in advance so that they are 10 steps ahead of the game and well before they abandon them. So it makes getting away unscathed easier. The narcissist first launches an effective and damaging preemptive attack on the victim's character and integrity. So nobody will believe them with the truth finally emerges that they, the victim, was abused. The narcissists have been backstabbing the victim behind their back from the very first day they met them. The narcissist distracts the victim with their amazing charm and gathers up all kinds of personal and private information. Meanwhile, that dark narcissist creature was using that personal information against you by being in the know about your immediate circle of friendly, family, and co-workers, etc., when they needed it to harm their integrity. Your integrity into that familiarity gave their words credence and strength, making them sound real as it concerns the backstabbing and destruction of the victim's integrity. The narcissists corrupted that information to build up their minions, flying monkeys, or their narcissistic soldiers. Narcissists do not see others as individuals. They look at others to see how they can use them to get what they want. Narcissists do not care about you if they do not see how you can be useful to them. You are considered to be worthless. The narcissist manipulates our empathy and emotions using them like a yo-yo, a string, constantly forcing us down and then pulling us back up again, perpetual disordered and diseased motion to control us and keep us off balance. You don't have time to clearly think or see the forest for the trees, because it is the unending levels of these emotional attacks and abuse that keeps you confused, paralyzed from so many levels of the chaotic and abusive control. When someone constantly puts us down, leaves you feeling like you can't do anything right, or makes you feel worthless and bad about yourself in general, just know you did nothing wrong, and that this isn't love, it's emotional abuse. What will become of the strongest esteem-building tool in our arsenal is the power of clarity that comes from removing ourselves from the abuse because we get it. We become empowered by the knowledge from the truth, and we now create something called silence. This silence is called no contact, born out of the need to separate and distance ourselves physically, emotionally, and verbally from the disordered and dangerous narcissist. Time and distance have a wonderful way of bringing clarity to the situation and direct path to recovery. We come to realize that relationship was always doomed to failure, but unfortunately we didn't see this until it was too late. But that truth has now set us free. We will undergo many changes in our ways of thinking about our situations in life in general, and a change of our expectations and especially our boundaries. We have experienced the nearest thing to evil that we will ever have the unfortunate and hideous opportunity to experience again. The narcissist parents tend to be so self-absorbed. They equip their children with a very few or no life skills, no emotional coping skills, no common sense skills, and no interpersonal relationship skills. They teach their children that you either control or be controlled, and that appearances are much more important than reality. The narcissist has successfully developed strong and shrewd communication skills that basically invalidate and manipulate our own perception about ourselves and distort our logic and reasoning, rendering our communication with them completely useless. All interpersonal communication becomes twisted and an opportunity to make us feel invalidated, wrong, and basically worthless. Words are just tools that they transform into horrendous lies that serve them to manipulate our thoughts in a manner to manage us down to nothingness. They keep us locked up in a twisted distortion and confusion and a loss of our normal reality that over time erodes our sense of well-being. The truth is, the whole relationship is based on the lies to cover up their indiscretions, lies to make us believe we are the source of everything wrong, bad, abusive, and even lies to convince us we are liars. Always believe the direct opposite with a narcissist. Because a narcissist does not emotionally or psychologically attach to anything, they are able to completely detach and move on and away from the situation or place without truly missing any of it. Be it a particular person, location, home, group of friends, family, or the place of business, the narcissist is constantly on the lookout for new highs and adventures only to serve themselves, because these highs take the place of the unfulfillment this soulless creature would get from having a loving family, a stable set of the friends, and a normal personal professional life. They will attach themselves to these very situations as long as it serves them. They do not have the internal mechanism to bond with people, so they only go as deep as what we can offer to them. Once that ends, so does their connection to us, and they are always on the lookout for the next person to target to keep the steady flow of supply. The idea that if you try harder, you will find a way to fix this relationship, perhaps fix this person, recreate that loving connection and revive it, is only coming from more manipulation and trap set by this narcissist to constantly confuse and control you. The narcissist has intentionally kept you imprisoned to this thread relationship that rebelled about basic functionality as best. This relationship always seemed to hold the unspoken promise that one day coming that connection of real love, but the true and only message from this narcissist was that you had to keep changing to meet these needs, or else they became your normal in this relationship and you lost yourself in the trying harder is not going to unlock the magic door to the narcissist and available heart, because you are dealing with a personality disordered person who that has no empathy or emotions. The unfortunate consequence to this is that you will have to grieve this empty love and the empty narcissist, just as if both were real when they were not in the least bit. The most unfortunate aspect and what is real is the toll of the psychological damage and the abuse has taken on your worth, your belief system, and your life. It is not just walking away from the normal relationship with a broken heart, you're walking away with broken self. Divide and conquer. The awareness of people may have of the narcissist is a constant source of anxiety and fear of the narcissist, and thus the huge need of theirs to completely control their immediate world and the fact it built on all lies. The pathological narcissist can't afford to have people talking amongst themselves and sharing a story. She will go to great lengths to carefully produce very devious and underhanded schemes to keep people divided. The narcissist will create division among friends, family, and colleagues by planting lies about one person to the other, another about someone else. This can be a successful strategy because no one expects a seemingly highly intelligent adult to be carrying on like scheming and lying child or an emotionally disturbed adult son bully. They are expert liars and schemers. This is the narcissist's damage control to divide and conquer and protect their abusive agenda and keep their endless sources of various supply separated from one another. Where there is a narcissist, there's a jaws. Other sign of controllers. Most additional signs of controlling people are derived from the major two warning signs of one-mindedness and defining others. Intense jealousy is a sign that shows when the victim displays interest in others, meaning the ideal image is not focused on the controller. The controller belittles the victim, attempting to destroy any authenticity. The controller says he or she will change after an episode of rage, but no change results. The controller blames one's anger on others. The controller isolates the victim, lavishes the victim with gifts in aim of making the person entirely dependent. Close-mindedness shows the person lives in a fantasy world. Psychology today, how to spot a narcissist. Charming, obvious, the insecure, ingenious, we love and hate. I nurtured myself, and boy, I feel sexy. It's better to have loved and lost than to have spent your whole life with that psycho. It's better to have loved and lost than to live with an idiot for the rest of your life. Fight truth, decay. Narcissism simplified, don't tolerate another day of abuse. Sometimes it takes a great storm to facilitate our awakening. We can thank the narcissist for playing the role of this storm that activated our deepest insecurities and exposed our greatest vulnerabilities. Now we have the opportunity to resurrect a formerly weak and fragile area. We have the opportunity to enforce our boundaries and redefine ourselves. Life can become better than it ever was as a result of our newly defined self. We can move beyond narcissism and not only survive but thrive. A journey deep and dangerous has been made by those who have been companions with the people of the lie. Narcissist. 10 ways to spot a womanizer. He's overly complimentary, he's hot, he's supermodel, you have the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen, you're gorgeous, and I don't know that the charm around lightly, wah wah wah, Bill Clinton. Turning tables. Close enough to start a war, all that I have is on the floor. God only knows what we are fighting for. All that I say, you always say more. I can't keep up with turning tables under the thumb. I can't breathe. So I won't let you close enough to hurt me. So I won't rescue you to just desert me. I can't give you the heart you think you gave me. It's time to say goodbye to turning tables under the haunted skies. I see you. Where love is lost, your ghost is found. I braved 100 storms to leave you as hard as you tried. No, I will never be knocked down. I can't keep up with you turning tables under the thumb. I can't breathe. So I let you close enough to hurt me. No, I won't rescue you to just desert me. I can't give you the heart and think you may give me. It is time to say goodbye to turning tables. Next time I'll be braver. I'll be my own savior when the thunder calls to me. Next time I'll be as braver. I'll be my own savior, standing by on my own 2 feet. I won't let you close enough to hurt me. No, I won't rescue you to just desert me. I can't give you the heart you think you gave me. It is time to say goodbye to turning tables. Yeah, oh, drama. Narcissus idealization. In the beginning, did he seem God sent, the man that could see and feel your soul? Was he ever eager, persistent, determined, and convinced that you were the one, as if the soulmate theory had finally met its way and connected the two of you? Was he strikingly different in every single aspect, as is over the top, the omega male, or perhaps he initially came across as nothing more than average, and Jane, through his conquest to have you, you became smitten by him? Was he different from any man you had ever met? Did he know all the right things to say, the words you have been craving and starving for? Was the sex amazing, fireworks? Did he bring out a side of you you never knew existed, at least not on this level? Do you find that your life took a brand new meaning? Hence, how can now you have purpose and you finally know what it feels like to be truly on top of the world? Ecstasy. You have had other relationships and none of them compare. You spend countless amounts of time together and it never seems to be enough. Narcissus devaluation. Slowly and gradually, as time went on, did you notice something different about him? As in the way he treated you, the way he made you feel, perhaps becoming less interested? Did he fall from being caring, tentative, and showering you with tons of attention, and how shows signs of being cold and distant? Does he keep you in a state of confusion, never knowing where you stand, what he's thinking, and how he feels? Is he not hot and cold? Is he unpredictable, mysterious, aloof, and private? Does he have a life without you? No one you are not included in? This could be work related, former relationships, children, friends, and our hobbies. Does he refrain from seeing you go for weeks without showing any signs of interest and then come crawling back as if it was the same loving man you initially met? Have you found reason to believe he's lying or distrustful? When questioning him, does he make you feel like you have an insecurity problem, others are advising you to get help? Does a slightest argument, setback, disagreement, or criticism set him off into a rage, or perhaps other forms of punishment, each at home? Being cold, distant, and silent? Do you walk on eggshells, changing your personality as if you were a champion in hopes of keeping him happy? And the sex is still amazing, even though the relationship has changed considerably. Does he constantly break promises? Does the relationship feel like a roller coaster ride on its steroids? Have you recently discovered that it's showing up signs of chasing other women? Perhaps he is ex. Does he convince you otherwise? Does your gut tells you that you are being mistreated? You know something is wrong that you cannot find in yourself to walk away. It's as if you are no longer the person you once were. The ever so sexy, confident, happy, outgoing Akka with it girl is nowhere to be found, at least not on the surface. Have you tried walking away from the relationship only to find that you are completely obsessed with having him back 1 minute. You think you call the shots, the next you are begging for mercy and convincing him that the relationship was meant to be. Your memories of being happy with and without them seem so distant, but his love is still your drug. Being discarded by a narcissist, devalued and discard. At at this stage, do you realize the relationship is totally all about him? Everything that was related in the beginning, the gradual loss of his attention and time went by, is now completely at a standstill, as if you no longer exist in our evening. Everything is about him. Do you now find yourself contacting him constantly, just praying for the opportunity to rekindle his love and affection? Does he ignore your attempts? Have you lost control over your emotions and thought? Do you now feel possessed, as if by selling yourself to the devil? Is he now completely disinterested, lacking any form of desire for you or the relationship, as in visually cold and totally ignoring you? He doesn't return calls, texts, or any other form of the communication. When he does respond, is he brutally cold, treating you as if never meant anything to him? Does he use reverse psychologically? As he making statements like, we were not meant to be, we have nothing in common, you are too good for me, we fought all this time, why can't we just move on, etc.? Out of embarrassment, do you hide the truth from others, pretending to be a complete control? Have you lost sight of what makes you happy, who you are, what you want to become? Do you even care about the future, or it means he won't be in it? Are you convinced that life has no meaning without them? Do you hate yourself? Do you now find that your conscience and mind is agreeing with many of the negative things he will say about you? As in, I'm crazy, he's right. Why would he want me? Why can't I just move on? Something is wrong with me, etc. Work done listening to me too. God. If you can't respect a woman, you lose your right to talk to her. My declaration to myself is to create myself as a character of love and joy. I will love myself for who I am. I love others for who they are. I will love compassion for my own well-being and well-being of others. I will live my life with integrity and present others with honesty and truth. I will respect myself, my belief and my boundaries, respect those of others. I will give myself recognition and deserve for my efforts and do the same for others. I will allow myself to have the connection, knowing everything is beautiful and as it should be. Will be authentic in every way and will be with love, allowing other people to do the same. I will reliable to my mind, body and spirit, staying true to with what my body needs. I will guide others to do the same. I will remain whole, centered and balanced, keep it real and show others how to do the same. Don't even touch the dude. Truth is truth, even if one believes it, no one believes it. A lie is a lie, even if everyone believes it. Let everyone love you just as you are, as flawed as you might be, as unattractive as you might feel, as unaccomplished as you might think you are. Let someone love you just as you are, and let that someone be you. Be you. Signs of unhealthy boundaries. Going against personal values or rights in order to please others. Give as much as you can for the sake of giving. Taking as much as you can for the sake of taking. Letting others define you. Expecting others to fill your needs automatically. Feeling bad or guilty when you say no. Not speaking up when you are treated poorly. Falling apart so someone can take care of you. Falling in love with someone you barely know and who reaches out to you. Accepting advances, touching and sex that you don't want. Touching a person without asking. How you treat yourself. Have a strong sense of identity. Know yourself. High self-esteem and respect yourself without arrogance. Know your own wants, needs and the feelings. Value your opinions and feelings as much as other people someone's more. Become your own loving parent. Take care of your own needs. Take to yourself with gentleness and respect and humor. Acknowledge your shadow self, but without judgment or self-hate. Are able to ask for help when you need it. Are committed to and responsible for exploring, nurturing and your full potential. Are responsible for your own happiness and fulfillment. Know your limits. Don't giving too much in the hope that someone will like you. Don't compromise your values and integrity to avoid possible rejection. Know when the problem is yours and when it isn't. Allow yourself to receive without always being concerned about another's need. God gives people to love and things to use, not things to love and people to use. With regard to others, move carefully step by step into intimacy. Develop appropriate trust based on current reality, what you know about them. Be okay with others having intense emotions without having to fix them. Allow others to be responsible for their own happiness and fulfillment. Express reciprocity in all relationships, but only what is realistic to expect from that person. Have respect for others. Don't take advantage of someone's generosity, and don't let others take advantage of yours. Don't tolerate emotional abuse or disrespect from anyone. Know when the problem belongs to someone else. Share personal information gradually in a mutually sharing and trusting relationship. Have an equal partnership as possible. Expect to share responsibility and power. Communicate your boundaries clearly in all relationships and try to stick to them. All others and to define their own boundaries and limits. Tips on how to start living for yourself. Stand tall when others are pulling you down. Stay true to your needs and wants even when others disagree with them. Respect yourself during difficult times. Discover everything that makes you you. Be proud of who you are. Compliment yourself. Feel your emotions. Do something that you have always wanted to do but haven't because you feared what others would think about it. Communicate in a healthy, assertive way. Trust yourself in knowing what's best for you. Are you gullible? Find out for only one. Wow. If we are facing in the right direction, all we have to do is keep on walking. A face you can trust, Princeton psychologists recently showed. Features that appear untrustworthy and that appear trustworthy. Aha, la la la, so cute. Take all the time you need to deal emotionally. Moving on doesn't take a day. It takes a lot of little steps to be able to break free of your broken self. You're going to catch a cold from the ice inside your soul. Wow, awesome. When we honestly ask ourselves which person in our lives mean the most to us, we often find that it is those who, instead of giving advice, solutions, or cure, have chosen rather to share our pain and touch our wounds with a warm and tender hand. The friend who can be silent with us in a moment of despair or confusion, who can stay with us in an hour of grief and bereavement, who can tolerate not knowing, not curing, not healing, and face with us the reality of our powerlessness. That is a friend who cares. The more anger towards the past you carry in your heart, the less capable you are of loving in the present. Keep your heart open, your head high, and your spirit free. Embrace your darkness along with your light. Never mislead anyone, especially yourself. And have the courage to admit when you are wrong. Awaken to the brilliance of ordinary moments and see goodness in the world. Strive to be your best. Be bold, be grateful, be wild, and gloriously free. Be yourself. My mission on in life is merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. Aha! Beautiful, beautiful. I loved it. Absolutely wonderful. Hocus pocus. The magical thinking of the narcissist. Bait and switch. Narcissists simply bait you with targeted conversations in an effort to constantly manage you down and keep you confused. Just with a normal conversation, it almost seems like they are testing you or even mocking you. They are gauging your reactions to see just how far they can push you and always making you feel like you must explain yourself. They especially want you to react emotionally after they bet you. To get that reaction, they will tell you to calm down or say you are overreacting and make you internalize this disappointment with you. They want to upper hand always to feel in control. So the whole point is of this is to make you unhinged with their constant chores. Conversations are always a competition with them, just like everything else. With the narcissist, think of it like this. It is like the narcissist's purpose